Okay, we've seen 3 nights of protests in Charlotte, North Carolina. Last night's one was mostly peaceful because of a curfew and the National Guard presence. Among those peacefully marching are 2 people from the Charlotte Clergy Coalition for Justice, and they are joining us now. Lead minister of the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church, Reverend Robin Tanner, and pastor of the Mayfield Memorial Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Peter Wary. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I see that you're both wearing yellow armbands. What do those represent?
We are. Well, when we first gathered on Wednesday night, I actually began out in the streets on Tuesday. Several of our clergy were with us then. We realized that we needed a way to identify the faith leaders who were out there with us, with the protesters. And so we began tying yellow armbands around all of the faith leaders so we could be identified.
Reverend Tanner, I want to stick with you for 1 second because I know that you were not in favor of having a curfew imposed on Charlotte or having the National Guard out there, but it seems to have worked last night.
Well, I think it depends on your perspective of that. The curfew was not signed until 9 p.m. and we had been out in the streets for quite a time, and it was a nonviolent movement well up to 9 p.m. So it's not as if the setting of the curfew at 9 p.m., many of us didn't even hear about it until 10 p.m. or later, had any impact on the crowds gathered. They were already peaceful.
That's good to know.
They were peacefully assembled, exercising.
Yeah, that's very good to hear that it was peaceful. But what about the National Guard? Did that help?
Again, we have organic leadership here in Charlotte. We have organizers in this movement. We have protesters, community leaders of all ages, and we had insisted and asked very strongly that the National Guard not be brought in because we knew those leaders could be trusted. They demonstrated their leadership last night. We stood together, faith community, community leaders, protesters, organizers of all kinds, and they demonstrated that leadership.
And in fact, the protests were peaceful each night until postures were taken by local law enforcement that caused intimidation and fear.
So, Reverend Wary, you think that it was, what do you mean? You think that the police were the impetus for the violence that we saw there?
What we would say is, I was out there on Wednesday night, and when you have a line of police in riot gear approaching a group of citizens who are unarmed, who are peacefully assembled, yes, who are lamenting and raging, who feel pain woven in the fabric of our city at that time, and feeling our community aching, and expressing that, but expressing it in a nonviolent way. When they see police coming toward them, much like bringing the National Guard in, it militarizes our city. It creates a bodily presence of fear within people who are not armored and who are not armed.
Well, understood, except that it was a civilian, wasn't it, that shot Justin Carr, the 26-year-old there who we've learned has tragically died.
So I was there at the Omni when that happened, and Justin was behind me. I had a colleague who was beside him. And I will tell you, at that point, it was chaos. People were running. Some were tripping over others. There was smoke in the air. How anyone could conclude already without an investigation, without any kind of ballistics report, without any independent ballistics report, that it was a civilian who shot Justin Carr. Our position, and I was there, is that in the midst of that chaos, we need to be very careful in rushing to conclusions without thorough investigation.
So just
in a time like this where things...
Yeah, but just to be clear, you're saying that you think it's possible that the police fired shots?
I'm saying I do not know. I was there, and we had other clergy who were there who were eyewitnesses. And we've all concluded in the midst of that chaos that we would not be able to say definitively what happened, that there needs to be a broader investigation looking at the various angles of video footage. We know that there's some footage from media that were present there, and putting those video clips together as well as a ballistics report.
And to be clear,
go ahead, Reverend Harry, quickly.
It is important for us to advocate for such an investigation and to make conclusions before that is done in our view, exacerbates the tension.
Okay. Reverend Tanner, thank you very much for your perspective. You are on the front lines there.
Thank
you.
you.
We know that you're also calling for the video to be released. So thank you very much. Nice to talk to you. Let's
Thank
get to
you.
Chris.
Thank you.
All right, some lighter news. Sports dominates the weekends in this season, and guess what? You got another new quarterback and another win for the New England Patriots. Their rookie third-string QB stands tall in his first NFL start. Is this team just better in terms of organizing and strategy against the rest of the league? The Bleacher Report will answer that next.